Hello and welcome back to another day. This time we're going to continue looking into models. We spent some time with those yesterday, or actually last time we met, and we're going to continue to add into those, add some complexity. Now, last time we created this task model, and we created a table for it. If you look out on the administrative one, we can even see where we are able to add a task, and we can see all those nice fields there. Well, what we're going to do here is we had this status, and we're actually going to create a lookup for that. So we're going to call this lkpStatus. That's just the naming convention I use. We're going to make this also. This is a basic model. And so we're going to do, let's just do this way. We're going to have a name, and we're going to have a short name. And the name will say for status will be, we'll keep that at 20. And the short name is going to be 4. And blank is false, because those are going to be required fields. Both of those are going to be required. We don't need an ID, because as you remember maybe that we already have built under the covers, Django goes ahead and takes care of an ID for us. I'm going to add something new here, specifically for this one. And this is what we return. It's going to do a __str, __, and then you're going to pass it self. And this is going to return self.name in this case. What we're doing here is we're going to say, this is if I want to convert this class to a string, what does it look like? And this is going to become very important in a few minutes when we add to our admin side. So let's go ahead and do that here as well. So with the task, let's say that we're actually going to make this a little more complicated. So it's going to be name plus, let's do status. Except for we're going to do, I'm going to wrap that in, so we're going to wrap it in parentheses. So we're going to do this. And so we want to see the most simple representation, essentially a toString of our class. This is how we're going to do it. Now, we could do something much more complicated. We could do something where we actually display all the fields, but this, it becomes important to keep it sort of short, which is what we're going to show in just a second. So let's go back over to that admin, because we want to make this part of it. So now we have to import lookup status that we just created over here. That's this lookup status. And we're going to make an admin for it as well. The list display, let's see, we're going to call it status admin. And we got him, and he's going to be name. Yeah, we'll do name, comma, short name. We'll do both of those. So we'll do the whole thing in the listing here. And then we got to make sure that we register it properly. And so lookup status, gets status admin. And so we will end up getting this to show up in our admin side over here. So let's go back over to command line. I'll bail out for a second. And remember, we have to go back and do our migrate. Somewhere in here, did I have it somewhere? There we go. So first, we're going to make migrations, because we've added, whenever we make a change to the model, whether it's a new form, whether it's a new field, whether we're deleting a field, or whether they're changing properties on a field, all of that, those need to be part of the migrations. So we're going to make migrations to adapt that. We have a new migration that's built. We'll take a look at that in a second. Let's go ahead and migrate it. Let's just do migrate. Okay, so you applied it. Now let's go look at that real quick. So what did we just create? We have this one that has a dependency. So when it runs through, it knows that it's got to run. If this is building it from scratch, it knows that first it's going to go to the DP project initial here. And so it's going to come in here, picks that up. It's going to run first from scratch. It would run this, which creates the model for task. And then it comes in, and now we're going to create a model for lookup status. And it's created that field in there as well. Now, you may note that even though we added in this case this little function for the string function, it doesn't show up here because it doesn't care. The database does not care what our name is. This is something that's going to be used by Django and with part of our working with those classes, with these classes here, as opposed to something on the database side. So we have our stuff. Let's go ahead and run our app. Oh, there we go. So now if we do this, I think I can just refresh. And now we see that I have lookup statuses because it thinks that it's going to add an S to the end. So it thinks that is the name of it. And we can tweak that, but we're not going to mess with that right now. First, let's create some statuses. So we're going to add, let's say, new, and the short name is just going to be new. And we're going to do in progress. And we'll call that prog. I'm going to say complete. And let's do a hold. And then let's do a like a cancel. Let's call it cancel or delete. So let's call it. Let's do CNCL. Okay. So now we have these, and we can see that we've got a list of statuses. And if we go to tasks now, because, oops, except for did I change link? I did not. Status is just still a lookup. So now what we need to do is we actually need to go in and tie this. Let's go ahead and stop those server real quick. So we're going to have to do another migration because we're going to come in here and we want to change this status to use the lookup status that we just created. So in this case, we need to, we're not going to be this false default one anymore. So here, we saw this before, here where we used it for the user. So we're going to go ahead and do essentially the same thing. Actually, let's just do this to save typing time. We're going to come in here, except for now the foreign key is going to be lookup status. And we're still going to do the on delete cascade because we can. Yeah, let's do that, even though that's probably not going to be valid. We're going to go ahead and say if we have a status deleted, then it's going to remove the tasks related to that. So now we come back. So we did change that, and we're going to see now we've got a different set of migrations. And if we look, now we're going to see where we've built in this, we've actually altering because we had this status before. Within the task model, we're going to alter status and turn that into a foreign key. So all that being done now allows us to come in and run our server. We'll refresh. Our statuses are all still there, nothing new. But now if we come in and add a task, and let's do, this will be my first task, due date. Let's make it due in a while. Completion date, that actually should have been null. We'll have to fix that at some point. Let's just make that tomorrow. Status, see here, because this is a lookup, there's two things here. One, this is giving us a list of statuses, but notice these are the names, and that is because it uses that string function. So I look back to models status, I just use the name, so now I see in this drop down whatever the name is. And now I'll just leave that at 0 right now, creation date. And I can pick an owner, which is me. I do save for required. Oh, I need a time. So now I can save those. And it blew up because I missed something here. So let's go take a look at what we've got. Oh, this is the self-name plus status. Oh, because it is, here we go. This is a problem because I did status, but status is actually a class. So I have to do status.name in this case. Actually, let's do status.shortname. And I think I don't have to restart the server for that. Yes, there we go. And so I have my first task, and I can see where I just created that. And then I could make some adjustments. Let's go back while I'm thinking about it real quick, and let's change. Creation date is fine, but the due date, let's allow that to be true. And let's do that. Yeah, we'll allow both of those to be true. So let's do that. Let's make our migration real quick. You can see that it altered those fields. Now, if I come up and run this and go in here, and I'm going to create a second task. Now I don't have to worry about a due date or a completion date. Status is going to be new, and I'm going to assign it to me. Oh, it is still telling me that that is required. Let's see. Did I run the migrations? I did run the migrations. Check here. Oh, those have to be empty as well. So let's do blank equals true. Oh, yeah, well, we can leave that. Due date. So we need to be null and blank. Rate it. And now, oh, actually, I should be fine because it allowed me to save that. So my second task, let's add a couple minutes to it just because. And there we go. So now I've been able to sit down and create a lookup field. I can administer these. And this is where it typically makes sense that in an application, and we're going to see the front end in some of our up and coming episodes. Typically, what you would probably do is have things like tasks would be handled on the front end, and administrative things, lookups like status, would actually exist in the back end. Now we can do this here for now, but what we're going to end up doing is then we're going to actually pull this back out of our admin, and we're not going to worry about doing tasks. We're going to actually do those from the front end. But I wanted to show you this time around some of the basics that we can do. Let me actually go back to the status admin. When you see, there's one more piece that we want to look at. When we look at this list here, the fields that are in it are based on what we do in this list display within model. So task admin, I could do, let me go back and look at my task real quick so I can remember what my fields were. I can actually go, where's admin? There we go. So let's add that real quick. So let's add in task, I want to list it out by name. Let's do due date, owner, which we will see the user. And let's do status in here. So let's do those. think we can pick that up without a restart of the server. So now we changed this list display. We've added due dates, we've got status, and notice that here they went ahead and picked up in that listing. They went ahead and picked up the string because we did status. We didn't have to do status name or anything like that. And we can see that this brings up that status name. So there's a couple basic things for getting our models working. I wanted to go a little further into that. Look a little closer at foreign keys. Note that these are classes, so we can do all kinds of functions within these and work within those in our code. And that's going to become very important as some helpers and things like that as we actually go back and hook these things up into our views. So that'll do it for this time around. Hopefully, if you have any questions, as always, shoot us an email, drop some comments, and we will catch you next time.